Mother's Day. A day when children honor their mothers for their guidance, love, support, sacrifices, and every single thing they have done for their family and children. It's a day filled with love and happiness for everyone, just like the Gana family, who were also celebrating Mother's Day on May 8, 2011. However, on this joyful day, something unexpected happened, which ultimately changed their lives.
Hello? My mom shot me with a gun. My mom shot me with a gun.
You're talking too fast. I can't understand you.
My mom shot me with a gun.
No,
I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding all over the floor.
The family consists of the father, Antonio, the mother, Annamaria Gana, and their two sons, Tony and Alfonso, who are 16 and 9 years old respectively. They were living in Tustin, California. Previously, they lived in the Philippines, but after Antonio's retirement from his position as a colonel, they moved to the USA around 2007. In Tustin, they acquired a franchise for a UPS mail center, which the couple managed. They were a very happy family and loved each other dearly. However, in October 2010, Annamaria's mother, Evelyn Mango, received a phone call from her daughter. Annamaria revealed that she and Tony had visited a hospital where her doctor informed her that she had cancer. Upon hearing this, her mother was devastated. She immediately booked a flight and came to California to be with her daughter. Annamaria was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. She was prescribed various medications to treat her condition. However, after starting this regimen, her mother became worried about her because she had researched some of the medications and found that some could cause hallucinations and depression. Every time Annamaria emerged from her medical appointments, her mother and Antonio would ask her about her condition, and she would always reply, "I am okay, I'm in good condition." However, in December 2010, her mother returned to the Philippines, believing that her daughter was in good health. Then, on Mother's Day, everyone tried to make Annamaria happy. Her husband cooked delicious food for her, and her sons, Tony and Alfonso, presented their gifts to her. However, despite their efforts, she appeared unable to respond to anything as her condition had worsened over time. After the celebration, Antonio took her to bed so she could rest, and Tony and Alfonso went to the living room. After some time, they heard a loud bang. At first, they thought it might be the TV falling from the wall. But then, the youngest, Alfonso, mentioned that he smelled gunpowder. Antonio and Tony immediately went to Annamaria's room to see what had happened. But when they opened the door, they saw Annamaria holding a gun pointed at them. Antonio tried to take the gun from her, but when he got close, she shot Antonio in the chest. Seeing this, Tony immediately tried to run out from the back door, but he stopped, realizing that Alfonso was still in the house. He tried to find Alfonso, but when he came to the living room, he saw his mother walking towards him with a gun in her hand. She shot at him, but this time, her aim was off, and the bullet hit Tony in the arm. Realizing that he was still alive, Tony immediately grabbed his phone and left the house. He then promptly called 911.
What I remember of the call on the radio was informant says his mother had shot him and his dad, and something like he's left the house.
After the call, he immediately ran towards the neighbor's house and knocked on the door. A neighbor came out and, upon seeing Tony in his condition, she also called 911. Officer Todd Hilton arrived at the scene promptly. The silence from the house made him increasingly worried about the condition of the occupants. Suddenly, he saw a woman running towards him. At first, he suspected that she might be the assailant because during the call he heard Tony saying that his mom shot him, so he assumed that she might be his mother. However, he later found out that she was their neighbor who had also heard the gunshot. Following this, he immediately moved towards the house. As he got closer, he saw a boy coming out of the house, most surprisingly with a gun in his hands.
That movement coming out the front door was a little boy. And he had a big gun in his hand.
The officer then aimed his gun at him and told him to drop his weapon, but the boy did not comply. This further escalated the tension because if the boy didn't drop the gun, he might get shot by the officer. After continuous commands to drop the gun, the boy finally dropped it and ran immediately towards the neighbor woman. Another officer arrived and they both entered the house. They checked every single room in the house to find if anyone else was there. When they entered Annamaria's room, they found two people lying on the floor facing each other, as if hugging, and they were both covered in blood. Officer Hilton's partner started checking the pulses of both individuals, but then they heard one of them crying. It was Annamaria. They assumed that both were victims. But when Annamaria opened her eyes, the officers were shocked. Todd Hilton asked, "Who did this?" To which Annamaria replied, "I did this. Please kill me." They then understood that she was not a victim but a suspect, and the blood that was all over her was Antonio's. She was then taken to the hospital. Meanwhile, Tony was also admitted to the hospital for treatment of a gunshot wound on his arm. On the same day, Annamaria's mother had planned a surprise visit for her. However, while en route to her flight, she encountered Carmelia and Jose, Antonio's children from a previous relationship. They informed her about the incident and Annamaria's subsequent arrest. This news deeply traumatized her, prompting her to immediately travel to the USA. In the hospital, the police conducted an interview with Annamaria at her bedside. From the interview, it was apparent that she was not in a stable state of mind. When asked about her planning, she revealed that she had been contemplating this action for 2 weeks but was always too frightened to carry it out, believing she was incapable of doing so.
Tell me what happened.
I fired it first in the ceiling,
Okay. Why?
so they'd come in.
Okay.
But my husband came in first, so I shot him. And then I was gonna shoot my 2 sons, and then I was gonna shoot myself. I wanted my whole family to go with me. No one is gonna suffer for my death.
Can you explain to me when you first formulated this idea of taking your family's life and your own?
Every night for 2 weeks.
What stopped you from doing it on those days?
I was scared.
Okay. What were you scared of? Okay. So what changed your mind on Sunday?
I said I could finally do it
In your mind?
in my mind.
However, her mother, Evelyn, suggested that Annamaria's actions were a result of medication overdose. She believed that the medications Annamaria was taking had exacerbated her condition, leading her to lose her sanity and commit the act. Following her arrest, the police interviewed her son, Alfonso. He recounted the harrowing scenes he had witnessed. He explained that when he heard the gunshot, he hid in his room. Once the sound of gunfire ceased, he ran to his mother's room and found his parents lying on the floor. Hearing the arrival of the police, he picked up the gun and fled the scene.
For the gunshots, it was just, it was Mother's Day, so, we gave her, like, the presents and stuff, and she was happy. My mom was sitting up and had a gun in her hand, and I think, she shot my dad first. I hid, like, in a room, and I was there with a pillow, and covering my face and stuff.
However, after Annamaria's arrest, she was sent to jail where she completed her chemotherapy. In 2013, her trial began. At her trial, her defense attorney argued that she was dealing with delirium and psychosis, partly caused by the cancer treatment she had been undergoing. The attorney suggested that the medicines and prescriptions were to blame. However, the prosecution responded, "Your heart can break for people who are depressed, but murder-suicide should never be an acceptable way of dealing with those feelings. As a society, morally and legally, murder-suicide should never be an option." In April 2013, Annamaria was found guilty of first-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. It was also discovered that she met the criteria for the special circumstance of committing murder while lying in wait. Additionally, they confirmed the validity of special sentencing allegations related to the use of a firearm, resulting in both death and serious injury. However, in June 2013, Tony requested the prosecution to reduce the punishment. The judge then downgraded Annamaria's conviction from first-degree murder to second-degree, and the special circumstance of murder by lying in wait was also removed. She was then sentenced to 40 years to life in prison. During her sentencing, she stated, "No words can describe the pain of my loved ones and the pain my husband's loved ones are feeling. This tragedy does not make sense to me. I feel very terrible and I am deeply and truly sorry."
I am sorry. My plan didn't work out. It's supposed to be the 4 of us. out.
However, Annamaria is incarcerated at the California Institution for Women in Chino, Riverside County. She will be eligible for parole in 2036. After her sentencing, some people argued that she shouldn't be punished because her actions were a result of her deteriorating mental health and the adverse effects of the medications she was prescribed for her cancer treatment. They believed that Annamaria's psychotic break was a tragic consequence of her illness and the drugs she was taking, rather than a deliberate act of malice or premeditation. These supporters advocated for a more compassionate approach, suggesting that Annamaria should receive treatment and support for her mental health issues rather than being incarcerated for an extended period. However, what are your thoughts on this? Comment down below and subscribe to our channel for more such videos. If there's any specific case you want me to cover, please leave a comment. Thanks for watching.